let's get started then. And if anybody else wants to join, they are welcome to. So today we are doing a webinar. We love doing these things. We are going to be doing them for the rest of the year. We're actually like coming up with some programming for the rest of the year. It's really exciting. I guess I'll start out by saying my name is Mike Sadler.
I'm Alison Velasco.
And we are both on the sales team here at Forever Cheese. What's Forever Cheese, though?
Oh my gosh, what is Forever Cheese? For those of you who need a refresher or are, new to the company, we are an importer of specialty foods. So we import primarily cheese, hence the name Forever Cheese, but also a lot of other wonderful things from Italy, Spain, Portugal, Croatia, and Switzerland.
And yeah, so beyond cheese, so we've been doing this since 1998. Again, mainly focused on cheese, mainly focused to some degree on accompaniments. In the last couple of years, we've been growing beyond those borders. We recently had a new member of the family join called WA Imports. They're based out of Illinois, but they're an importer of East Asian condiments, accompaniments. It's an incredible product line. If you haven't heard us talk about it before, please ask us about it. It's really cool stuff. And then we also recently added to the team Virginia Packing, great company down in Virginia that's going to be helping us to convert a lot of our products and come up with new formats that really fit your needs and fit into a lot of different formats. So yeah, and then where are we today?
Today, we are in our New Jersey warehouse in our studio kitchen, which is our space where we do our webinars. We can also utilize it for trainings, for educational videos. Really, the sky's the limit here.
Yeah.
I mean, literally the ceiling is the limit, but
Yeah, there's a ceiling here. You can't see it, but
we have some of these capabilities. And we've set up a really lovely picnic for everyone to watch us enjoy today.
yeah. So we're gonna make you watch us because we haven't come up with the smell-o-vision yet. This webinar is called a Bloomy Bounty. We're gonna talk to you about why we chose this topic. But let's go through the list of products. We're gonna go through a list of cheeses here. Allison's gonna go through that list. I will go through the format, and then we're just gonna jump in head first.
Exactly. All right, wonderful. So we have 5 cheeses here today. Interestingly, everything that we have on the table today is from Spain. We have our Nieve de Cabra, Miticaña de Oveja. We have Leonora and Leonora a Fuego, and then we have Nieve de Cabra.
Yep, and then you can also see we've got a bunch of accompaniments, also happen to be all from Spain. And we'll talk about those. Hopefully towards the very end, we're going to go through some of these pairings. But yeah, we'll go through, we'll introduce why we chose this webinar. We're going to go through each product, tell you a little bit about the story behind these and why we chose them. And then, like I said, at the end, we'll try and, do some mixing and matching here to show you some possibilities with pairing. So without, and also I should mention at the very end, we're gonna have some time for questions. I want to open that up to you guys. Please, throw your questions in the chat. You can do that throughout. It's not gonna bug us. And our producer will be able to field those at the end. And we'll be able to answer your questions, but please take advantage of that time because this is an opportunity for you to, go straight to the source and get those answers. So a Bloomy Bounty.
Yes.
Bloomy rind cheeses. This is the topic of the day. And the reason that we wanted to really highlight these products today is today is March 18th. Couple days, we're going to be entering spring, at least according to the calendar. You can see that we are currently still in our winter sweater gear because it is, in the 20s here in New Jersey where we're recording. However, we're really trying to, we had a false spring here in New York a couple weeks ago. We're truly trying to manifest that.
We have hope. we have hope that the thaw is coming.
We have hope that the thaw is coming. We think it will eventually. And so we wanted to celebrate some cheeses that really fit into that spring theme. These are fresh cheeses. These are cheeses that have fresh flavor. They also pair well with fresh produce and salads and some of the other things that we're gonna be looking for as we move into that warmer weather. So we thought it was a great opportunity to really evoke that picnic energy, being outside, even if it's just a little bit further away for us.
We have to plan for it now so
We
that
have
we're
to.
ready when it actually comes around.
We have to
right?
manifest it.
We're so ahead of the game. Everybody in here today, look at us being forward thinking.
But my first question is, Allison,
Yeah.
what's a Bloomy rind cheese?
Great question.
Oh, thanks.
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to do a little bit of science as we go through this. I'll try not to get too aggressively nerdy about it, which is, for better or for worse, that is my want. But we'll start with the basics. What is a bloomy rinded cheese? What are we talking about when we say bloomy rind? These are cheeses that are also called soft ripened, surface ripened, mold ripened cheeses. And we're talking about cheeses that have a bloom of molds that makes up the rind of the cheese. I like bloomy rinded because it's more whimsical, but also if you look at these under a microscope, the little individual mold pieces look like little sprigs of flowers. So, the union of the whimsy and the science is, I live at that intersection. So these are cheeses where the rinds are made up of mold. They're contributing to the flavor. I'm going to get a little bit into the science here. The super white mold that we see on these cheeses here is Penicillium candidum or camemberti. And then there are other cheese molds that will also be part of the rind. A lot of times you'll see bloomy rinded cheeses that have Penicillium geotricum rinds, which tend to be a little more wrinkly and a little more ivory colored. There really is a fairly wide range. And there are also hard cheeses that have molds on the surface that are blooming and alive. But we're really talking about more of this sort of soft to semi-soft range with those when we're talking about them today. These molds are edible. They are contributing to the flavor of the cheese, and they're doing things to it like breaking down the fats and the proteins, changing the texture of the paste of the cheese, and contributing flavors as they do that. So if you have a really thin cheese like a brie, that's going to get broken down almost all the way through. If you have a cheese with a little more depth to it, like we're seeing here, you'll see a cream line under the rind, and that's the part that the molds have started to break down and digest a little bit and have their effect on, and then you have the cakier piece in the middle. Mike, I don't know if you can.
Oh yeah, if you want to zoom into the there we go. You can really see the cream line there
on the Miticaña de Cabra. And then that texturally is going to be a little squishier. Sometimes it even gets into super runny. The rinds of these cheeses are edible. You are intended to eat them. They are going to do something for the flavor of the cheese. That being said, I'm not going to judge you if you don't want to eat the rind or the crust of these cheeses. I am a noted nibbler of rinds, but even I sometimes will encounter one that I'm like, I don't prefer this one. So, that's fine. Experiment, see what you like. Just don't leave a big old hunk of rind on the cheese board at a party because that is a level 3 party foul.
Yeah.
And that is something that I would judge you for.
Yeah, we'll all judge you for that.
It's important. I know everybody's really worried about, is Allison judging me?
Good rind etiquette. We all look for
rind etiquette is key.
It's key.
So, there's a lot of things that are going on here. We're going to see some nice variation in how they affect these different cheeses. And I think we can go ahead and get started walking through them.
Let's jump in. So we'll start with a pair of cheeses that are sort of, again, one of the simpler expressions of what Allison was just talking about. These are fresher cheeses that are being soft ripened from the outside. We're talking about the Nieve de Cabra and the Nieve de Oveja, also known as the Miticaña de Cabra and the Miticaña de Oveja. And the only reason they had that name is because, yes, we are Mitica We'll show you actually
Packaging.
also the packaging here. And I do want to talk really quickly about that packaging. So as we've been talking about, Bloomy Rind cheeses are, they're very living cheeses. The mold on the outside of these is, it's alive. And in order to keep it alive and thriving, we need to create this ventilation. So you can see that this is an open box. This container has ventilation that allows that bloom to continue to thrive, because this takes a while to get from point A to point B. And if you suffocate it, those molds will die. And all of a sudden, you're really losing out on the quality of that cheese.
Yeah, I think if you've ever, like, if you're a buyer or, even a consumer, if you've ever bought a piece of cheese or had something come in where the white rind has turned brown or gotten really slimy, it's because those molds, which are alive, have essentially died. And they start to produce really strong, like, ammonia odors, and the rind can kind of just slough off. So we're trying to make sure that that's not happening. And the packaging of this cheese was really developed to make sure that that happens.
Yeah, and what's lovely is you see when you have a very healthy piece of cheese, it's got that snowy fluffiness to that rind. These are cheeses that are made by a producer named Central Casera Montesino. You may know them also as the producer of a little cheese called Drunken Goat. Drunken Goat, what is that? They are based in the Murcia region of Spain, depending on how accurate you want to be. And they're produced the Miticaña de Cabra is produced with the Murciana goat's milk. And then we also have the Miticaña de Oveja, which is made from Lacan sheep's milk. So they're both produced in that region. These are really high quality milks, and this style is meant to be a throwback to the bûcheron, which is a French style of soft ripened cheese. Bûcheron literally means woodcutter, so it's meant to be a log. Caña de Cabra, depending on how you translate it, cane or log, that's what we're trying to evoke here. They're simple cheeses. The texture is going to be nice and cakey. It's going to be just really rich, sweet, creamy, cakey, and you're going to get there's the way that you can kind of tell the difference between these two is if you look at the color, and we'll go back into our close-up camera here. You can see that the one, I can't tell if it's on the right or left of the screen because I'm dyslexic. The one that is yes. So anyway, there's one that is more yellow, and that is our sheep's milk cheese. And then we also have one that is a little bit lighter color. That is the goat's milk cheese. So, and again, you're also going to get a flavor difference there based on those milks. And these are aged for 21 days. Again, we like to keep them packaged in breathable packaging. It's a simple cheese. It's really accessible. And it's great.
Yep, really easy to portion. Yep. Looks nice in the case. Really great for food service as well.
Excellent. So now we're going to take this sort of simple cheese and go to, again, made by a producer that we love, but a producer that, produces cheese at scale and is a little bit bigger producer, to a totally different size producer making something that is at least somewhat equivalent or comparable to the Miticaña de Cabra.
Yes, we're going to talk about the Leonora and the Leonora a Fuego. So these are made by what is essentially a 3-person operation. Our cheesemaker, Oscar, his partner, and then their other cheesemaker, Anna. And they make these two beautiful cheeses in their home in Leon, which is why the cheese is called Leonora. So to contrast from, this larger production that we have with the Miticaña de Oveja, the same maker as Drunken Goat, we have this very, very artisan production. Oscar was a mechanic in a mine who took what is basically an extension course to learn about cheese making, and then from that explored a little more and learned from a bunch of women in his community about making these sort of traditional styles of cheeses that had really fallen out of production during Franco time in Spain, when more industrial cheeses and things like manchego were more promoted, and artisan production like this was kind of suppressed. So coming out of that, there was a bit of a revival, and he started learning how to make cheese, and played around for a while trying to figure out exactly what to do, and ended up with this beautiful cheese, which also uses the Morsiana goat's milk. Instead of being shaped into this log shape, it's more like a brick, and that is to evoke the traditional adobe bricks that are used for local construction. So texturally, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit fluffier. We can see the nice breakdown of the cream line here. And it's just got a wonderful lemony, bright, super, super sunshiny quality to it. And it ships in this wooden box, which is beautiful in its own right and makes a wonderful display builder. But beyond that, what it's really doing is, again, creating an atmosphere where the cheese rind can develop and stay healthy.
You can see it's got these ventilation holes. And so it's very nice to look at, but also is very functional in creating that environment for the living cheese.
There's a good amount of space around the piece in the case so that it can kind of like create a little bit of an atmosphere. So we have the classic Leonora, and then the kid sister, which is Leonora a Fuego. And like all second children, it's a bit spicier than the first. So this cheese is coated in pimentón de la vera, which is a spicy smoked paprika that's a DOP spice from that region of Spain. And so the base cheese is coated in that, and then the mold blooms up through it. So you don't really see it that much from the outside, right? And then when you cut into it, you get this really shocking red, beautiful contrast. And it's doing some really wonderful, smoky, spicy things to the flavor of the cheese as well.
And I think what's incredible about this too is that, again, the nature of importing is that we're sort of managing a very living product. And when this ships out, it's actually mostly red, so that by the time it gets here, those molds are fully developed. So it's shipping out red, and then it develops this beautiful white coating.
Yeah, it's a bit of a gamble, and it took a long time to figure out exactly how to make that work. But these cheeses spend about 2 weeks on a boat before they get to our warehouse, and so we're kind of managing that life cycle throughout the entire distribution chain, so that when it gets to you, it's in its like perfect peak condition.
So yeah, now a cheese that actually is basically built to really be very sturdy in that type of situation is our next cheese. It is the Nieve de Cabra. And as you can see, this one actually, we're breaking our little rule here. This one's wrapped up in plastic, but this one actually holds up really well packaged like this, which makes it very friendly for a monger. So with the Nieve de Cabra, this is produced by our producer who makes the Torta del Cazar, which is a thistle rennet cheese. It's one of those creamy, really rich cheeses. It's produced in the Extremadura region. You don't see as much goat's milk cheese coming out of the Extremadura region. So this is kind of rare coming out of that area. But what's great about this cheese, this is a great sort of, if you're living in that brie world or camembert, any of those sort of French bloomy rind cheeses, but you want to branch out, take a little trip over to Spain, try something a little different, but not crazy, crazy adventurous. This is a beautiful, mild cheese. It is very sweet. It starts out very bright. Let's go to the zoom. There we go. And
it's a bit denser too. So it has those like mild, sort of generally appealing, but there is some good complexity to it nonetheless.
Yeah.
And the rind is very thin, and it has a really beautiful flavor. And as it develops, even as it starts to like mature, it doesn't go into the realm of like, oh, this rind is dying. It actually gets kind of like nutty notes to it, kind of like like almost like Virginia peanuts.
Mhm.
Like it does some really interesting things to the flavor of the cheese as well.
Yeah, again, with these cheeses being sort of these living cheeses, this one especially, I think, expresses its age it just as it sort of matures. It also, I think these ones even we took them out a little while ago, so they're warmed up a little bit, but I would say as it sort of sits out, it'll soften up. It'll sort of get just a little bit more of that like softness, creaminess.
Yeah. Not quite like spreadable, but like
Right.
a little bit more
Just a little,
squidge.
yeah, a little more squish. So, again, and also if you're afraid of rind, this one's I find very like easy eating experience. And it's just a beautiful format. Again, as you can see, this is a 13-ish ounce wheel. It's just the perfect little size. I just love that it comes in this nice little package.
Yep. But it's easy to cut and sell as a half piece,
Exactly.
too. It's not going to
Yep.
get really messy. Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, that's the cheese. We got a couple more minutes here. So we did want to highlight some accompaniments that we would recommend for these cheeses. Again, we're going all over Spain for these. The stuff that we've chosen today, we're going with our mini jam trio right here, which is a mixture of three of our Spanish. Oh, I never zoomed out, so I'll just stay zoomed in. So this is the mini jam trio. This is comprised of the raspberry basil jam, the blackberry rosemary, I'm trying to make sure I get them all right, and the mandarin orange jam. And we'll go back to the big screen. And so
we also have some honeys. We have the orange blossom honey and the rhododendron honey.
Yes. So going again with the floral springy theme, we wanted to go with some more floral honeys. We have our Valenciano crackers, which are incredible. We just went with the sea salt today to keep it simple. But this is a product that if you haven't had a chance to try it yet, these are handmade crackers. Again, you don't want to go too crazy with the flavors with these cheeses because they're already pretty simple, pretty mild. That being said, we also have the truffle marconas, which I think can hold up really well against, especially these bigger flavors like in the Leonora Fuego or something else.
Yeah,
So,
and we're creating our picnic experience too at the same time. So what I love about the mini jam trio though is that you can kind of mix and match and say, well, what tastes good with what? So I want to do that. I have a feeling that so we tried full disclosure, we tried some things in advance. But I have a feeling that my favorite is actually the Leonora with the mandarin orange. So I'm gonna
maybe you should check. Maybe you should check and see if that's still
good. For gotta make sure that it's still what I'm hoping for.
I personally, I'm gonna do a little bit of this rhododendron honey. I'm gonna do it with the Nieve de Cabra just because I actually haven't. I had a little bite of it or of the Nieve de Cabra earlier, but this is one of my favorite cheeses.
The Leonora is so lemony that with the orange, it's like it's like pie.
Yeah.
It's like, that's delicious.
So I think honey and these sort of milder cheeses, it's going to be a win-win. This is a sweet cheese anyway. It's got a little bit of brightness.
Okay, but I'm going to do orange blossom honey with the Leonora a Fuego and see, get my hot honey situation going on here.
Actually, I did do that earlier and it was a good idea.
You did this one already?
Yeah. I guess you'll have to do it again.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Delicious.
Yes, so I'm looking at the time.
Questions.
We're ready to take some questions. We might keep eating. Sorry. It's just what happens when
Won't stop.
But we're ready to take some questions. Do we have any in the thing?
Yes. First question is, under the microscope, do the molds look like dandelions?
So the question is, under the microscope, do the blooms look like dandelions?
Yes. It depends on the type of mold, like how it really looks, but they kind of grow a stalk with a little at the end. And something that happens with these cheeses, but also with other, cheeses where we're actually actively encouraging those molds on the rind is like they'll bloom up. The cheesemaker will come and pat them down. They'll puff back up again with another layer, and that builds up and forms the rind of the cheese. I suppose if you think of it as dandelions, you could be making a wish with every bite of rind that you consume.
There you go.
The poetry of the moment.
That's kind of touching. Another question.
Next question is, what is the unit count for a case of the 3-pack for the mini jam trio?
Six
Ah, yes.
3-pack per case.
Yeah, we didn't go through formats on all these. This is I'll do really quickly. This is, so this is a four times 1 kilogram log for the Caña de Cabra and Caña de Oveja. It's a 5-pound wheel for the Leonora, and it's 2 2-pound wheels for the Leonora Fuego. So those are actually different formats.
Yes, and then the Nieve is 3 13-ounce pieces per case, and it's sold by the case, not by the weight.
Yeah. Further questions?
I'm going to try the Miticaña de Oveja with some of the blackberry jam.
Yeah. I think that probably sounds like a good idea.
Blackberry basil. I think it's really pretty.
What's the question?
What's the best way to wrap after it's been cut for any of the cheeses?
Great question.
Most of these, if you're cutting and wrapping them at retail, depending on your health department, we're probably not going to be able to give them more than 10 days of shelf life anyway. The rinds should not completely suffocate if you're doing it that way. I mean, if you have a cut to order situation and you can do it in cheese paper, amazing. Otherwise, plastic wrap is kind of the standard, and they should hold up pretty decently during that time frame.
Yeah, and a lot of times I'll see we'll see in retail, a lot of times these will be broken down into medallions, which is, I think a really attractive presentation because you get to see that inner cream line and everything.
Can confirm that the Miticaña de Oveja with the blackberry is really, really delicious.
I got to keep eating too.
One of my favorite things to do with these two cheeses also is to brulee them.
Oh yeah, we were gonna try and do that today.
We were gonna try to do that, but my torch was not working, and so no one will see me indulge my pyromaniac tendencies. But you can do it under the broiler as well, because you don't really have to worry about the cheese like completely melting away. Quick sprinkle of some sugar, little torch, and then like a little dab of jam on top of that, just like a really clutch dessert.
It's really bubbly, and again, this is a very cakey sort of. It's not the same as having like a fresh goat's milk or a fresh sheep's milk. It's just a little cakier, a little more firm, and then it gets that nice bubble on top. It's good stuff.
Delicious times.
Any other questions?
I really love the Valencianos with these because these are made with olive oil and they're like tender crisp.
It's a great texture. If you haven't tried the Valencianos, ask for a sample, please. They're really good.
What are the tasting notes of the Caña de Oveja?
Okay.
Oh, good one.
So I'm going to do it in contrast to our Murciana goat's milk cheeses that we have here, which are really, rich but lemony, have a nice little bit of acidity that's kind of, brightening them back up, and they lack that gamey, goaty quality. The Caña de Oveja, because it's sheep's milk, has more depth. I get more like sort of almondy notes to it, but it's just richer. And these are all relatively fresh cheeses, so you're still going to get a lot of like very milky, floral quality to them. But the Oveja has that extra fattiness of the sheep's milk to kind of give it almost like a custardy base.
Yeah. I would say too, like they all tend to have some level of brightness to them that's really nice. That sort of balances out the richness of the milk too. Yeah.
But the Leonora is like, this to me is like lemon meringue pie. Yeah.
We'll take one more, yeah.
Why are the goat's milk cheeses from Spain so lemony / zesty, like the Capricho de Cabra? And you said the same about the Leonora.
So all goat's milk cheeses from Spain are not like that, but we are biased towards Murciana goat's milk. The Murciana goat is a breed that their milk doesn't produce the aroma compounds that a lot of people recognize as tasting goaty or gamey. They just don't have those things in their milk to the same degree. So you tend to get more of the other flavors rather than being like kicked in the teeth by that sort of animal taste.
Yeah, they're just
really clean.
They're less less goaty, you know, like I think, which makes them very accessible, or sort of a gateway into goat's milk if you're not always, it's not what you always go for.
Mhm.
Well, that I think is going to be our time, but as we always say, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can always send inquiries to info@forevercheese.com. You can also send inquiries to either of us, or if you are working with a rep at Forever Cheese, which hopefully you are, please send your inquiries to them. That includes samples if you want to try any of these cheeses or the accompaniments that we talked about today. We are very generous with samples. We want you to try it, and we will help you get those into your hands.
Absolutely. And if there are things that you would like to see in these webinars in the future, things that you would like to know more about, questions that you have, send those to us as well.
Yes,
you can drop them in
please.
the chat here, or you can email them to us, and we'll try to work that into our programming because we want to hear from you too.
Absolutely. Yeah, as we were saying earlier, the webinar is a continuing project that we want to help serve you guys, and both informationally and in helping you sell the products. So if you have ideas, we're always going to welcome those, and we will be making some more announcements over the next few months about what's to come in 2026. So please keep an eye on this space. Beyond that, it's really great to see everybody, even though you can only see us. So that's not actually true.
We saw some of your names
We saw
popping across
names.
the screen.
And thank you so much for attending. It's great to have you guys here. We look forward to talking to you again soon.
Happy nibbling.
Happy nibbling.